What is up, YouTube family? It is your girl GC the Trader, and we are back with another weekly recap, you guys. I hope y'all are having an amazing day. It is Sunday, March the 8th, 2026. And yeah, I hope y'all had a great first week of March. Last week was also NFP week, so I hope y'all didn't do too much or went too crazy. Hope we ain't blow any accounts either, you guys. So yeah, I'm not gonna take up too much of y'all time today. Just gonna go over the trades that I caught this week on both of my funded accounts, and yeah, just go over my mindset, my psychology, how I worked through the losses, and how I was able to end my week in green, you guys. So with that being said, let's get into this breakdown. All right, you guys. Looking at the S&P 500 chart, ES for short. This was March 1st, 2026. It was Monday. And yeah, you guys, we took three trades and yeah, we caught three L's. Yeah, three L's, you guys. So yeah, we're gonna go over those trades today and just give you a little background and mindset on what transpired during this trade. So I marked up my 8 to 8:15 zone. When market opened up at 9:30, we were below my zone. But before when marking up my zone, I noticed that we did do a break to the upside of my 8:15 zone. Then we broke to the downside not too long after. So because we broke through the top and broke through the bottom of my zone, this zone is now invalid. It's not saying that we're not going to be able to catch a trade, but the break and retest from this initial zone is no longer valid. I noticed at 9:30 that we did a strong push to the upside, which broke out of this consolidation down here. It gave me multiple bullish, strong wicked candles to the upside. So with this candle, I knew we was going to blow through the zone, so I wasn't looking for a break or retest of the midpoint. And then also too, based off of other trades I've taken in the past, I've noticed that trading right at 9:30 open is not good for me unless I just have multiple confluences giving me the okay to take that trade. Basically, if price just give a strong bullish momentum right at the open or before the open, then that would be my indication to take a trade at 9:30. But other than that, a lot of the trades that I take right at 9:30, I end up losing. So moving forward for this week, I decided to wait to take all my setups after 9:40. So give that 9:30 to 9:40 for a market to build up and show me what it wants to do. Normally by that time, all the market noise from the open kind of dies down, and then whichever pair you're trading actually starts moving in the direction that it wants to move in. So I ended up catching this break and retest right here. As you can see, it did play out, but I still took a L on it due to a early entry. I did put right here, enter before full pullback was complete. There was no displacement. End up taking a loss of 237.50. I'm going to put my P&L at the end for all of my trades once I go through all of them. So I'm not going to put the P&L at the each trade. I'm going to wait to the end of this day breakdown. So yeah, I end up entering right when price broke through. Price ended up coming, if I'm not mistaken, on this one and knocking me out of the trade instantly. It ended up going in my favor. I could have hopped back in, but I still didn't have a strong enough displacement candle the way that I wanted. So I decided not to enter and just wait for a better setup to form. Price went into a consolidation. I did have a 5-minute. This is a 5-minute demand zone marked up. It also lined up on the 1-minute because this is my 1-minute chart we're looking from. But this is also a 5-minute zone right here. Price did a nice push to the upside. This was a resistant level if I'm not mistaken. So price broke through this resistant level. It started to come down trend. Honestly and truly, I looked at this candle. I looked at this movement, and then I looked at this candle right here, and I thought we were going to be in sales for today. and I entered on this candle. I didn't enter on this one or this one or this one. It was this one right here. Let me move this over so y'all could see. Yeah. I end up entering on this candle, and as you can see, it pushed down and immediately stopped me out, you guys, like in 1 second. And that was my fault. I jumped the gun. I definitely got caught in the trap and used this liquidity because nothing was telling me to sell minus this little downtrend action that was going right here. So I actually, jumped the gun for sure. I actually did. I thought we was going to reverse after we took out our London high and so on and so forth. I think we took out another key level in this bullish momentum over here as well. So yeah, I just got caught up in the noise. I thought I was going to be able to catch a small scalp down here because this was another multiple time frame zone that price could have tapped into. So yeah, definitely got caught up in the mix. End up taking another L. This was $200 if I'm not mistaken. At first I was risking the same amount, and then I end up managing my way out of that risk a little bit. This was the third trade I caught once I got back in the rhythm, meaning like, okay, I'm now moving back with the trend. So to me too, this was still considered an A+ setup. I would take this setup again. The only difference is with this trade, I would take this setup when the price is actually in a downtrend. I took this setup when price was in a uptrend, which this was a counter trend trade. You know what I'm saying? But based off of certain confluences, it had gave me a breaker structure. It gave me a strong bearish displacement candle. It came to retest that candle. The only thing is I did not wait for confirmation, meaning I entered right when price passed this micro higher low instead of me waiting for the continuation, meaning like not entering as soon as price passes this micro low, but actually waiting for price to come back and retest that micro low instead of breaking the micro low. I didn't wait for the retest, and if I would have waited for the retest, I would have saw that it would have never came, and that would have been my indication that price was just going into this downtrend to correct, not to start selling. So once we reversed and I saw price reacting off of this 5 minute and 1 minute, I switched my buys back to the original, which was buys, and boom, had this 1 minute right here. Also had a minor breaker structure. If I'm not mistaken, let me see exactly where I entered at. 68645. Let me see. 68645 at what time? 9:40. Okay, I'm just trying to make sure I entered at the right time. Okay, yep. So I end up entering once price broke this bearish candle right here, my order bullish order block. Once price broke that, I did enter. Overall, the trade did good. I think we ended up running, let me see, about 34 ticks. So that's about, if I'm not mistaken, almost $400, like around $300. We did run good. I could have took that and it would have covered majority of these two losses, but as I told y'all, I'm not trading to cover losses. I'm trading to trade, meaning like when I take a good quality setup, my TP amount is not based off of if I took two prior losses. So I was going for the full TP of 60 ticks, which would have been $750, which was me targeting a liquidity area, which was right up here. So I was targeting liquidity, not targeting, trying to clear losses, as to why I held my trade. The only thing I would say that I could have did better on this trade was moving my stop loss to break even. I did start off risking $200, but when price did this nice push, I ended up adjusting my stop loss to once price gave me this pullback, and then once it pulled back up, that's when I adjusted my stop loss to 100 rather than break even, just to give the price a little bit more wiggle room, because we did have another bearish order block right here. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to wait and put my stop loss right under that order block just in case price decided it wanted to retest it. And then price ended up coming down, invalidating my trade, knocking me out of the trade to retest this fair value gap just to go higher. So I did watch the trade play out, and this was the better move. And the reason why I say this was the better move is because I did not really wait for price to come sweep that most recent low. After the push, these two were the most recent lows, so it makes sense as to why price came and swept those two before pushing back up. And as you can see, we did the same thing after this little push, came and swept the most recent low, which was this one, and then ES just took off and started consolidating the rest of the session. So no, I did not take this trade, but I did have it marked just to show myself where the better trade came. Sorry about that, you guys. Just to tell myself, like, show myself where the better trade came and what I should have waited for. So, yeah, you guys, that was Monday's trade. We end up taking a total loss of $549. I'm going to put my P&L on the screen of my profits. And yeah, y'all, yeah, Monday, the first day of March was brutal. We had one of those days, but hey, it's okay. It was NFP week. We did probably come in a little bit too strong with the 3 trades, but I will applaud myself for keeping my head and being able to still look for quality setups even after a loss. And I applaud myself for walking away after 3 losses because, most traders wouldn't have did that. This could have been a blown account type of day if I didn't have the mind frame and structure to deal with the 3 back-to-back L's, especially after watching this. It took a lot for me not to try to jump into a continuation or look for another setup. I just accepted the fact that, hey, it's cool. I've also given myself one emotional trade that I'm allowed to take, and then after that, any other trades has to be A plus setups to my standing, and these two was. So I'm okay with walking away with that L for Monday, you guys. So my next trade was and this was on my my $150,000 account. So our next trading day was Tuesday. So let's go to Tuesday. Okay. All right, all right, all right. Let me see. Let me go to my 1 minute. All right. I'm trying to figure out why my trade is not here. Give me one moment, guys. Oh, right, you guys, we are back. Okay. I just had to darken it up because they were marked because I lock all my trades. It's just couldn't see it. So, I cut off my session so that you can, better see why I took the trade and just, see what happened. So, yeah, moving into Tuesday, I had my break and retest set. Price showed me that it wanted to consolidate inside of my 815 zone. It did break to the upside and took out my high before coming to take down my low. So coming into, pardon me, you guys, I saw that we continue to stay below my zone until the open. So when I got the open and I got the first retest, um, based off of my new entry model, I do still do break and retest, but I do a 1 minute displacement. So I may not enter right when other people enter on the break and retest. I wait for a 1 minute confirmation and I basically enter on the continuation of that retest, because a lot of the first retests I take, I end up losing, and I end up predicting the next move and don't take it because of my one trade move. So instead of taking that loss at 9:30, I wait until the second retest and then I enter on the break of the second retest. I had this trade marked. I did not take this trade. I end up missing this setup, actually, you guys. I thought we were going to invalidate this zone, honestly. And when we did this big move, I missed the retest of this zone to the downside. This would have been the actual trade that I would have taken. It was after 9:30. It aligned. Price took out that mid level. It did not take out the high of the zone again. So I was going to take this setup, but I ended up missing it. So I just waited for a break and retest of another newly formed structure. This strong displacement bearish candle was my new structure that formed. This was the candle that led to the breaking out of this up and down action right here. Price gave me my breaker structure. It came back to retest that breaker structure. And then I entered on, I didn't enter on the retest of the high, of the low. I entered on the first bullish momentum that I seen. The first trade I did take was an L because I entered too early. I'm still working on my early entry, you guys. But yeah, I ended up taking an L on due to early entry. But I waited, kept my mind, kept my head focused, waited for price to hit the entry level that I wanted. I re-entered, risking the same amount, 200 for, if I'm not mistaken, it was $600, and ended up hitting full TP in less than 3 minutes, you guys. So I'm gonna put my P&L on both of these trades and what I end up walking away at the end of the day. Took a $204 loss after fees, and came and recovered with a $600 trade. Walked away with $596 off of this trade after fees, uh, leaving myself with $392 in profit for the day. So I was able to end Tuesday in green and was able to knock out a little bit of the loss I made yesterday. I think this win actually took me to like 152 in the negative for the week. So this was a very good trade. Loved how this one played out. And this is what I was telling myself, that, sometimes I enter too early, but if I know what I'm doing, if everything follows, if it's not emotion, giving myself the okay to take the next trade, figuring out my edge, and sometimes I jump the gun, but I can profit back on that re-entry if I give it to myself. So that's what I've been doing lately, giving myself the opportunity to find my edge and actually, make money trading, and not just saying, okay, I took my one trade for the day, be done. Telling myself if that one trade that I took was more emotion than skill, then hey, that's an attempt. That wasn't me actually trying to take a trade. So I will give myself another opportunity. So yeah, you guys, that was Tuesday. Was able to catch a very, very nice setup. My next trade was, let me see, was on Thursday on my $50,000 account, which was gold. So let me go to my gold chart, you guys. I'm going to take off this indicator so y'all could see. Okay, this trade happened on Thursday at what time? 8:02. So let's go to 8. So, all right, you guys, this was my gold trade. I hope y'all can see it. My background's a little light. Let me darken this up for y'all. Okay. Just so y'all can see it a little better. This is a very good trade, you guys. And I'm just gonna explain to you, even though yeah, I didn't make as much money off of this trade as I wanted to, but that's neither here or there. I'm gonna explain why I didn't make that, but made that. So coming into gold, I was looking at S&P and gold, but I like the better setup on gold, so I decided to take the gold setup. And if I trade gold, I trade my $50,000 account. So I end up taking this trade on that account. I didn't catch a setup on ES for Wednesday and Thursday. I didn't take any trades on my $50,000 account. But my next trade day was this on gold. So coming into the session, Right at the open, gold dropped over 700 ticks, just went bananas, dumb. So in that push, gold broke through four key levels, and due to that, I doubt gold was going to make a full reversal to go back into buys. So once seeing that, I waited into 8:30 their market open to really start looking for setups, if I'm not mistaken. Let me see. Yeah, I waited till about 9 o'clock. So uh I waited about a good hour after the market opened up before I started looking at any trades, just to further make sure that gold wouldn't do a reversal, because even though I didn't feel like gold would do a reversal, you just got to make sure. I had several zones marked up. I had a 15-minute supply, I had a 5-minute supply. I really thought price was going to come back up to here because there was a minor gap in between these two zones. But then again, price coming back all the way up here, would I be okay with taking sales? Probably not. But yeah, and once I saw price moving into this little consolidation up here and gave me this supply zone with a strong displacement, I marked it. I did enter a little early on this one, but my early entry did not, you get what I'm saying, put me in a bad position or whatever the case may be. I just entered before price passed where this bullish candle closed at. So, I did, well, not up here, I mean down here. I entered before price um, broke past this micro higher low that it produced. Um, but, price still, did what it had to do. I didn't enter right here. I entered right here. So, price still, gave me a minor push. It did give me a pull back into my red a little bit, but my stop loss was up to here because originally I think I was risking 200 or 250. I'm not mistaken, but I think I was risking 200 for 450. So I was going for like a 2.5 R&R. But yeah, once price gave me this strong displacement candle, that is when I adjusted my stop loss right here. And then price broke into this liquidity pool of this up and down action building orders. Once price started giving me this up and down, I was like, okay. By then I had already been in the trade for 50 minutes because I was watching for my 5 minute. So I had already been in the trade for 50 minutes, and I was like, okay, well, if price does decide that it wants to reverse on me, I will hate to be in this trade for an hour and walk away with nothing. So once price gave me this bearish doji, which was not a doji at first, but once it gave me this bearish doji, I adjusted my stop loss just to break even of the trade, and then immediately after, gold came to stop me out, and then immediately, like literally a few minutes later, hit full TP, you guys. So put my P&L over here, end up walking away with like $3.80 after taxes. I had my stop loss like $6 in profit, but when gold did this move, it was moving fast, so I did have a little slippage. So it ended up stopping me out a little bit higher than what I wanted to, but we still didn't take a L, so I wasn't tripping too bad. The reason why I lost this trade was because I didn't wait for a price to sweep the most recent high before going down, and that's normally what happens. Price will jump into a liquidity pool, and if you're actually within the correct trend, it will sweep the opposite higher low of that trend and then continue into the trend. So in this case, we was in a downtrend, and before price continues to move forward, it's going to sweep liquidity at the most recent high, which was my stopped out candle, and probably should have just kept my stop loss right where it was at. And if I would have kept my stop loss right where it was at, you get what I'm saying, we still would have been in the trade. But I did tell myself moving forward that, once price gives me my 1-to-1, instead of me adjusting to break even, I'm going to adjust to half risk and keep it at half risk, because I was risking 200. If I would have moved my stop loss to half risk after this move and kept it there and accepted stop loss of TP, price would have did this move, but it wouldn't have knocked me out of the trade, and I would have made some money that day. So if I would have kept my stop loss just above that second key level price broke from, we still would have been good. So moving forward, I think not for ES, but for gold, just because gold, she's the girl that you got to give a little bit more wiggle room to sometimes. So I think moving forward, any gold trades I take, I'm just going to adjust my stop loss to half risk and keep it like that just to give the trade opportunity to grow. Okay. I end up getting used as liquidity because I jumped the gun and moved too fast, you guys. So I would have been all right with taking this L at 100 if I knew that I was basing my stop loss based off of price action and not because of what was going through my head. You get what I'm saying? It didn't matter if I took an L. I should have gave price room to do what price does before it makes big moves. So yeah, we ended up getting used as liquidity, but we didn't make any money. Yeah, you guys. I don't know if I said I'm gonna put my P&L, but yeah, if I did, cool. May end up putting it again, but yeah, that was the gold trade. $3.80 on the $50,000 account. And if I'm not mistaken, that's the only trade I took on my 50K account. Just moving forward into Friday, I didn't see any quality setups on gold that I was willing to risk my account for to take a trade. So the last trade was on ES, and it was on Friday, you guys. So we was able to catch a trade on the last day of NFP week. So let's go see what your girl did on this trade. Okay. So while we're on the 15-minute time frame, let me just show you from a higher time frame perspective. This was my 8 to 8:15 candle. Moving into the session, this was around 8:30, if I'm not mistaken. That was red news. So on this red news, ES just push, dropped through one key level, and started consolidating right before it dropped to this key level. And if I'm not mistaken, this is where our trades took place. So as I told you, moving in, if the 9:30 open, if my candle is just too far from my original zone, I'm not looking at this zone anymore. You know what I'm saying? Price was too far for me to believe or feel that price will come back to retest this zone. And if it did, it will be me looking for buys, not necessarily me looking for sales. So when price gave me this new structure and then broke out of this structure at 9:30, as I told y'all, I don't take my trades until 9:40. So I did not take this move, and this is the first break. We're not trading the first break. We're not trading the first break and retest. We're trading the second break and retest. So I was not looking to take this trade right at that open, but I was looking to trade that newly formed structure. So yeah. So going forward, price did that strong bearish candle you seen on the 15-minute chart. This is actually what happened. Price gave me a change of character and released, came back, retested underneath my zone. At the 9:45, I could have entered, but as I stated, price did not give me a break of structure. So I do break and retest with a 1-minute displacement. So what has to happen is on my 5 and 15-minute has to be a break, but on my 1-minute I have to have a break of structure because I'm trading a continuation of the break and retest, not the initial break and retest. So when I noticed price failed to give me a break of structure, it created me a micro low, but it never gave me a break of structure. So I didn't take the trade. You could have made some money off of this if I'm not mistaken. I think my boy RP made money on this move, or he made money off of the bounce off of that key level down there. So I'm trying to, there it go. Where is it at? Here it go. If I'm not mistaken, you could have entered right here. Nope, that's the wrong one. Let me see. You could have entered right here on this second one. And yeah, you could have made money. So it worked out. This would have been the second break. It worked out, but as I stated, price did not give me a breaker structure. It failed to stay, you get what I'm saying, above that breaker structure. What I was looking for price to do is to break this lower low, break past it a little bit, come back to retest that lower low, and on that break, that's when I'm entering. I'm entering on that second break. That's my confirmation break. I never got that. I could have took this trade, but I did not take this trade, you guys. Also, too, ES gave us another opportunity. Came back, retested the same spot again, you guys. Could have entered right there. Would have got a little drawdown, but it would have been cool. And would have made money again. That's another $600 trade. Did not take it because I didn't get the breaker structure. Price came to this key level. I was waiting for the same move I was waiting for right here. I was waiting for it to happen right here. Wait for price to tell me that it wants to stay above, break that structure, come back to retest that structure, and then enter on the break of that second retest. But price never gave me that. Price ended up bouncing off of this key level. If I'm not mistaken, yeah, this was the move that my boy RP had caught. He entered on that one right there as price was coming up. And I think he caught about 20 points or 18 points, one of them, 20 or 18. So it was a good bounce off of that. I was not looking to take a bounce. I wanted to see if price was really going to buy. So I did not take that initial first bounce off of that key level. I was waiting to see if price was going to reverse back after that and give me sales, or if it was going to continue into buys. And once I seen price displace, give me a new form structure, because now we're no longer worried about that structure. This is the structure we're worrying about now. So once I seen price break, give me this new structure, it came to retest it. Once I seen this morning star, I was like, okay, it's looking like we're about to have a trend change. So boom. Once I got this breaker structure right here, as you can see, my breaker structure. Yeah, your girl entered again too early. We working on it. We working on an early entry, y'all. We working on it. But I end up taking a loss of on that first entry of $204. Kept my head together, got you guys, and then entered when I wanted to enter on the actual rebate, which I still entered a little early. I wanted to enter right here, but I ended up entering down here. I still entered a little earlier than I wanted to, you guys, but I ended up catching 15 points. I took a 4-point L. I caught a 15-point win on a re-entry. I believe on this trade, I'm going to put my P&L for both of the trades and my ending profit for the day. I ended up catching, I was going for 600, but I decided to adjust a little bit once I seen price give me another breaker structure within my trade. Once I seen price break structure within my trade, I adjusted my stop loss. I adjusted my take profit to about $737. Yeah, and price ended up giving us $737. After taxes, I ended up walking away with $733 for that trade, $733.50. And then after the coverage of that loss, I ended up walking away at the end of the day. Let me see, with, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was 500. It was 500 and something dollars that I walked away with for this day. So yeah, we end up ending NFP week with a banger, you guys. We call it an amazing setup. We kept our head after losses, and I know y'all seen based on the other videos where we took the L and walked away. Now you see how majority of the L's I took, I was able to make my profit back. So moving forward, I'm having grace with myself, and like I said, I'm giving myself one emotional trade. And if that emotional trade does not play out, the next two trades I take has to be A plus setups. If I take another trade and it's not an A plus setup, I have to be done for the day. So, I'm not just walking away at a loss anymore. I'm giving myself an opportunity to catch a better setup. And if that means we take another L, then that means we take another L. But, we're trying to trade to make money. We're past that learning stage now. We've been doing this over a year now, so it's time to actually start passing these funded accounts and making some money, you guys. So, yeah, y'all, that was this week's trades. I'm going to put my P&L for the month. We ended up walking away with for the month on my $150,000 account, 300 and something dollars, if I'm not mistaken. It could be 92 372. I'm not really mistake. I don't really know, but y'all gonna see when I put it up here. So we were able to make back all of our losses for this week. As you can see, Monday we took that $500 loss, but we made it back on Friday, and yeah, was able to make almost $1,000. So this was almost my first $1,000 profit week, you guys. But, we had to give some of that for that L we took on Monday. But, I'm proud of myself for being able to trade back those losses and, make some money and keep my head together. So, we up about $300 on my $150,000 account. We had a slow NFP week on my $50,000 account. Wasn't too much feeling some of the setups on gold after 940. I try to do the same thing I do ES on gold unless the setup presents itself, then I'll take it at 9 a.m. and different things like that. So yeah, we were only up about $380 on our $50,000 account. So yeah, we're moving pretty slow on that one, but hey, we still have 3 more weeks left of March. We have a lot of time to grow it. So we're not being greedy. I'm trading that $50,000 account a little bit more strategically. But it's just my 150. I have a little bit more wiggle room. I have a $4,500 loss cap. And I got to make 9,000. So I'm gonna push it a little bit more on that account, but on my $50,000 account, I'm a firm believer that I can make 3 racks trading micros in a month, trading strategically, you guys. So, yeah, that was this week's trade. Thank y'all for sitting down and listening to me. Thank you for being my audience. Thank you for being subscribed. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. Please like and share. Your girl really do appreciate it. So, with that being said, I'm going to let y'all have the rest of y'all Sunday. Thank y'all. I love y'all. Appreciate y'all. And your girl, GC the Trader, is out.